Hey guys, it's Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by.
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa, and it's my morning.
Yes, we did a role reversal this time. It's nighttime here. It's morning for you. We got a lot to talk about, especially because of the Game Awards that were last Thursday. It took us a little longer than we wanted to talk about it, but here we are. We're going to talk about. There's a few other topics as well, but the Game Awards was filled with a lot of stuff, including all the awards that were won, plus all the reveals. So let's just start off right off the bat. Game of the year was It Takes
It takes
Two.
two.
Yes, which I was a little surprised because it's kind of the lesser known of
Mm,
actually of all of them. It's the least known of all the games, right?
yeah,
Deathloop was a front runner. Metroid Dread. Psychonauts 2 I didn't think was going to win. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart I
yeah.
didn't think so. Resident Evil. I really thought it was going to be between Deathloop and Metroid Dread.
Resident. Yeah, I thought it was between Resident Evil and Deathloop
Mm-hmm.
personally, but I will say I played It Takes Two. It Takes Two. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing about it that's too groundbreaking, but it was just really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only thing I can take away from it. Like I enjoy playing. If I had to play Deathloop, which I haven't had the chance to yet, I just know it takes. Well, Deathloop is something you can keep coming back to, right? Because of the
Mm-hmm.
way the game works. But It Takes Two is really something you can, like 5 years from now, play again with your friend, couch co-op. Like I'm happy that a couch co-op game won Game of
Mm-hmm.
the Year. I'm surprised, but I am happy because it's like hopefully we get more of them in the future. It's not
Yeah.
a thing that happens that often.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
a little surprising for me to see as the winner. I haven't played it yet, so I can't judge whether it's a worthy winner or not. I just from
Yeah.
I guess
I
a
do
name
recommend you
recognition.
play it, by the way.
But didn't
I
you
did
say
tell
you
you a while
have to
ago as
play with
well.
two people though? Isn't it like
Yeah.
required? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Like play it with your lady. It's
Mhm.
so it's pretty like easy to get into, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's two different like you play as two different parents. You're about like this is not really spoilers, so I can say this because the game starts off this way, but you're basically telling your daughter you're gonna have a divorce
Mhm.
and she's like crying and like she hates the situation. So she's crying into these two like knitted she's these two dolls that she created that represents her parents.
Mhm.
She cries into them and the parents get sucked into those dolls and then they're like miniature, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids with their little toys, and they gotta like work their way through it. I only got about halfway through it. The
Mhm.
bosses were interesting. The first boss you fight is a vacuum cleaner who's really upset that you never cleaned him, and then you just leave him in the garage the whole time.
Mhm.
There's like there's bulldogs. There's like a part where you're like on bulldogs. Those are your mounts. How you get around.
Mhm.
Each character has like different mechanics. The mechanics that work together. Like the guy has a hammer. No, no, sorry. I believe the lady has a hammer. The guy has these nails that he can throw and catch back, kind of like God of War's
Mhm.
axe, but then the lady is the person that hammers it. And it's quite cool. So you have to work together. I enjoy it. Moving forward though, before because I know we're not going to talk about all of these, I'd say the thing that surprised me the most is that Psychonauts 2 didn't win a single award.
Yeah.
From all the categories it was in, it didn't win a single award, but I think it deserved at least one award. I'm not too sure. And oddly enough, even though I didn't get to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I felt like that deserved more awards as well. Like especially for things like graphical advancements. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
really, like that was the one game that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I feel like is the one game you can play on PS5 and go, oh wow, look at what my PS5 can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's a whole subject we want to. I'm going to talk about that later.
Mm.
But best game direction, Deathloop. That they won for that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes, yes.
For me, it
Um,
was between Returnal and Deathloop there, because yeah,
yeah. We had best narrative was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy,
that's
which
because they never shut up, Dennis. If you play the game, there's nothing but narrative. I love it, by the way, but it's endless dialogue
mhm.
and banter, which is great. But yeah, of course, it had best narrative. It was fun though. It was a good game, but there's so much. Yeah, there's so much talking. At least it's comedy, so you don't mind it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Ming Na Wen was the one who announced that. She came out and announced that one. We have best art direction that also went to Deathloop.
I honestly thought this would have gone to Kina. Like I really would have thought this would have gone to Kina. You know what I mean? Uh, just because it looked like a Disney Pixar movie game. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it, Deathloop had a lot of things that were amazing, but not the art direction didn't really stand out to me. You know what I mean? In Deathloop, like Psychonauts 2, Kena, Ratchet and Clank, literally those three I believe deserve it more than Deathloop in terms of best art direction. You know?
Which is interesting.
I
Is
yeah.
it was Hideo Kojima presenting Guillermo del Toro, which presented best art direction.
Oh man, that's
Deathloop,
funny.
the producers that came out, or uh, who accepted on the award, they thanked Guillermo del Toro, who was promoting his new movie, which they played the trailer for, I believe. Um,
But yeah, I think I said it previously. I wasn't really a fan of Kena Bridge of Spirits. The gameplay
mhm.
was a bit too lackluster for me. But the game looked like a Disney movie, like you were playing a Disney movie, and the characters, the animation, the modeling, it was just a fantastic job on that. So I'm surprised, really surprised it didn't get best art direction. Um,
Yeah,
maybe it was too cute looking for the people that were judging it. I don't know.
yeah. Best Action Award, Simulu presented this one. Returnal won. Um, Best Action Adventure Game, Metroid Dread. The awards, other
Hmm.
than the two that you had mentioned, Ratchet and Clank, and what was
Yeah,
the other one? Psychonauts. Like
yeah.
they did get spread around to these different categories. Um, Multiplayer game. It was It Takes Two. Best mobile
Which makes
game.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Best mobile game, Genshin Impact. Best
Yeah, that also makes sense.
Best ongoing game and community support. No surprise, Final
I
Fantasy
told you.
14.
I told you, bro. I did call it. I said there's no
Yes.
way anybody else wins this. There's no way. Yeah.
Um, Best sports slash racing game was Forza Horizon 5, which also won
Weird category.
innovation in accessibility and audio design. That was a game that one of my favorite games of the year. I was surprised it didn't get nominated for best game of the year.
Mm.
But
I,
you
I
know,
will say real quick as well, Final Fantasy 14 also got best community support. The two kind of went hand in hand. The community
hmm
support is what made that game good this year.
yeah,
Um, the one thing that didn't sit too well with me is best debut indie game. Because it's like you're comparing like actual indie. I don't know. Kena Bridge of Spirits. It seemed like a pretty high budget indie
yeah.
game. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it does
It's
count as an
probably
indie
yeah,
as
it's
an indie
probably
game,
like
but
some of those indie movies, right? Some of those indie movies
yeah,
that have like big famous stars in them and whatnot, or
yeah,
they're like, oh, technically an indie movie, because
yeah.
you
But
know.
comparing Sable and Kena Bridge of Spirits, that's a bit of a stretch, you know?
Yes, yes.
Compared to things like Valheim, The Forgotten City, The Artful
Yeah.
like Escape. Anyways, it was at least it won an award because the game
Yes.
was good. It does deserve an award.
Best score slash music, Near Replicant, and I'm not gonna read the rest of the name. Um, games
Oh,
for in.
sorry.
What's
Sorry,
that?
that was best debut indie. My bad. Sorry, best indie. They
No,
also won
they
best indie
won.
game. They
Yes,
won both.
they won both
But
debut
but
and
like
indie
Loop
game.
Loop Hero, I love Loop Hero. Loop Hero was like an 8-bit game made by one person. How could they possibly compare that? You know what I mean? It was I don't get it. 12 it's like 12 minutes. That makes sense to me as an indie game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's real. I don't know. The Kena Bridge of Spirits, there's something about it that feels very AAA studio.
I thought it
Even though it
was
isn't. Yeah.
until I saw they won. I was like, huh, that's not.
Exactly, yeah. It
Um,
was I guess it's because it's the first game the studio came out with, which is what makes them indie.
yeah. Um, The Forgotten City was nominated for a best debut indie game.
Mm.
Yeah, Sable. I don't know where does the scent fall. I guess that would be.
Yeah, I would have assumed that would have been.
I mean, it's
Well, I guess they
obviously.
came from a proper studio, didn't it?
I think was it like Neon Giant. I think. I don't know how big they. I mean, it's obviously a big endeavor to do that. I just don't know if it's like a triple A.
Yeah, yeah. Neon Giant, Curve Games.
Yeah. Um. Then we have best game for Impact. Games for Impact. Life is Strange. True Colors.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense as well for me, actually.
Yeah.
for that
Best,
category. Which is that a
yeah.
new category or no? That's not a new
No,
category.
I think I saw it last year. Best
Yeah.
RPG, Tales of Arise.
Yes, that makes sense as well. That it is a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not what I was expecting when I played it, because it was very different from any Tales of series, which is
Hmm.
like a series of games like Final Fantasy. Tales of Arise was really good. There's a lot of really good DLC for it. It's like a good action
Hmm.
JRPG.
Best VR/AR game is Resident Evil 4, which makes sense. It was highly touted.
Sales speak alone for that as well. Like
Yeah,
it sold the best. Yeah.
I played it. It was fun. People were highly. I didn't finish it, but people were highly touting it. Though this game came out after. It just came out last week, which we're gonna talk about later, which is after the fall, and that would have been
Mm.
my VR game of the year,
Oh
but
yeah.
it came out a little too late. So, okay, before we get into the game announcements, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the new Star Wars game. We're going to talk about Alan Wake 2. We're going to talk about the Wonder Woman game, Suicide Squad, Elden Ring, all this cool stuff. Before we get into that, I did want to tackle one subject, which was it kind of it was something I thought of while I was watching the show, and then people also were echoing the same sentiment, was that a lot of these awards, other than the big ones, right? A lot of these awards were basically throwaway in terms of in the show context of the show. In
Yeah.
terms of look, so let's face it, about 75% of this show is just literally just trailers, right?
Advertisement. Yeah.
But in order to make room for more trailers, um, there's a there was multiple occasions where I don't mind the whole like, okay, if this one game won 2 awards, let's just announce it, and they come up and they talk and they basically accept the award for 2 or 3 of these awards at the same time. That's fine because you don't need the same group coming up all the time. What I think rubbed people the wrong way, including myself, was the ones where they would literally just list off 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 awards in a row. And that was
Yeah.
it. There was nobody coming to pick them up. There was no speeches. And I understand that you have to do that for time, but I mean, it really, more so than any year before, really kind of was obvious to everyone. It was like, and the winner of this, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And now, next trailer debut.
It was the
What did
video
you
game
think?
trailers 2021, you know? I
Yes.
mean, but it's always been that way. It's just now
It's
they're
just
not even
getting worse.
Yeah,
It's
I was
getting
gonna say
worse.
now they had a good balance of it in the past couple years, and to be honest, the most I want to see a couple winners. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
There's a couple things where I'm like, oh, I want to see who won this category.
Hmm.
But most of me, like 80% of me, is like trailers, announcements. That's what I want to
Yeah,
see.
but
But
that's
they
fine.
get that. But like you said, you gotta if you're doing an award show, you gotta give people the credit they deserve. Don't just like list them off and like as a throwaway. You know what I mean? Or like
Yes.
even if that's not their intention, it feels that way when it's like, hey, we're gonna mention like 5 awards in the next like couple minutes, and then we're gonna show you like 20 minutes of adverts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine the Oscars. The Oscars, they don't show you trailers of movies coming
Exactly.
the next year. They talk about what movies, are possibly going to win.
And even then, the
And the
Oscars
winners.
does a pretty bad job of like cutting people short on time. You
Yeah,
know?
they do. I mean, it's a 3-hour show. They cut people off, and some of them the categories they get pushed to a different show. Okay, and I'm not saying that the Game Awards has to be exactly like the Oscars or the Emmys or anything like that. What I'm saying is like there needs to be a balance, right?
Yeah.
That you just got to at some point you're gonna have to bite the bullet and say no. We're not gonna show as many trailers because we're gonna about to get into this, and there's just so many. There's like so many. You start to forget. I'm telling you. I while I was watching this, I had my Bluetooth headphones on, and the great thing about these is you can kind of walk away, and I walked away for a little bit, and some trailers were playing, and whatnot. At one point, all the music for these trailers started to sound the same. The same.
Mm.
They just had the same. Okay, this is how we're gonna set up the trailer, and then boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like literally, they started to blend together. The visuals and the audio, like
A
they were.
couple of the trailers were unnecessary as well. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Or like, I get. Well, then again, I get that that is primetime advertising. Like they're paying for that
yeah,
spot. It's like the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That commercial spot is expensive, and I get that. But it's like certain things like DLCs. I would not have really announced DLCs, or I would have maybe like not made room
yeah,
for them.
yeah. We should. They
But
should put a rule,
yeah,
hard and fast rule, no DLCs. Cause like,
yeah.
come
But it's
on.
a thing of like, hey, they're gonna take the money. You know,
Eh,
if the studio's like, hey, we're gonna pay you guys money to show this trailer, this DLC trailer, they're not gonna be like, oh, we don't have room anymore.
I
They're gonna be like,
know,
oh,
but
let's make room.
at
Let's
some
squish
point, you.
away some of the other categories.
I think at some point you've got to take a stand there. You got to. Otherwise, let's just call it the game trailer.
Exactly. Yeah. Game
You
trailer
know.
2021 or game
Yeah.
trailer 2022 coming soon.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't mind I love seeing this stuff. We're about to get into some of that stuff, but I mean, it's at this point I think a bit much, and they should, you know, be a little more selective. I know money's hard to turn down, but you know, at that point I'm like, I actually feel bad for the people in the audience because I'm like, well, at least I'm at home. At least I'm at home.
Right.
I can.
Yeah.
I'll just go run and grab a
True.
snack. I'll go to the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever. I can pause it, and you know, if you know I'm a little behind, it's okay. But people in the audience, they're just sitting there watching trailer, which is fine. Like when I go to E3 and I go to the Xbox showcase or whatever, and they're playing trailer after trailer, I don't mind that. It's not an award show. They are there to promote the games coming out on their console system. You know, that's it. So in that context, I'm just much more receptive to it. Where this one is called the Game Awards, and you know, a little more focus on the awards would be nice. You know.
Yeah.
And then you know, there's no graphic packages or whatchamacallit, like edited packages, video packages of these games. You know, like they just they have someone come out and they say whatever the category is, and then bam, this is the winner. So yeah,
There's just so much. I'm literally looking at the list of the games announced, and it's more than the Game Awards. Just
yeah.
it's more than like it's insane.
And
You
then
know?
honestly, cut down on the categories too. Then I mean, there's just there's just a lot of
Yeah. I mean, I think the amount of categories is okay, but like they need to give them the if they're gonna have that many categories, they need to give people the time they deserve. You know what I mean? Like imagine working really look, most developers don't really care about winning the Game Awards, you know what I mean, or getting any they really don't care. They care about sales, you know what I mean? Like but at the same time, I'm sure there are people out there that would be like, "Oh my God, we worked really, really hard. We're gonna get this award. We want to be able to accept it and say thank you to our fans who supported us." But instead, they're just gonna list them off like super quick and then be like, "Okay, and then this person won this, and now looking for the new God of War trailer." It's you know what I mean? It's I don't know. It's a little disrespectful, you know?
All right. So yeah, if you guys had watched the Game Awards, did you guys have the same thought, or do you not care? I mean, I know some people don't care. They just they want to see the trailers, which is fine. But then just don't call it an award show. Just separate it. Just like
Yeah.
this is an award show. This is the trailer announcements
I mean,
thing.
people would still watch it if it was like just a trailer show.
Sure.
A good,
Then
I
just
mean,
call it that.
I used to buy back when magazines still existed, you know, and were profitable. I used to buy my local gaming magazine, which was called NAG. It's I stood for something. I think it was the A and G was African Gamers. Was it? Don't know what the N was for, but
Well,
anyways,
it wasn't North African.
no, it wasn't North African Gamers. It was I don't know, it was something, but NAG. Nonetheless, they always gave a disc in
Yeah.
in every single issue, and it was just trailers. And I would buy that magazine just to get the disc to watch all the trailers of the latest games because that was before like internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
Xbox
I was like, this is-
Magazine.
yeah.
I used to subscribe to Xbox Magazine so I could get the discs, and they would demo, not just trailers, but they'd have demos.
You get demos too, yeah. You
Yeah.
get like some cool demos. I got more excited. Literally, like the way I would watch and enjoy E3 was buying the issue of NAG that came out after E3, and they would have a disc just of the E3 trailers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But now we
So I
have the
can,
internet. You
yeah,
can see everything,
whenever, yeah.
Yeah,
But
whenever.
yeah, like the thing is, if I feel like if they did have to make it two separate events, people would still come and watch it. You know what I mean?
Wow. All right, so let's get into kind of the big announcements that came out. We will mention a bunch of them, but some of them obviously will go more in depth. The big one for me was the Star Wars Eclipse trailer. The
Yeah.
new Star Wars developed by Quantic Dream. It's supposed to be like a multi-character, multi-storyline game that kind of like takes place like it takes place in the High Republic era, and it's supposed to take place like in various different locations. Looked fantastic. It was a cinematic trailer, so obviously, I don't expect the gameplay to look exactly like that. But it looked. I mean, honestly, it looked TV/film quality when I was watching that thing.
Yeah. It looks good. It does look good. Do you think that this was the announcement we were waiting for on
Yes.
that
Yeah.
on the not the leak, but the speculation we had from the website?
Yeah. I don't recall what day that was supposed to be. Was that supposed to be the
It would
10th
be
or something?
around now.
No, I
Yeah,
remember it was
would be
like
like
December
it was like the 11th
something.
or the 10th or something.
I can't remember. It was in December, I know.
There
So,
was another Star Wars game announced just before this, like a much
uh-huh.
smaller game. I forgot what it was already, but I mean, who cares? We got Eclipse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eclipse, it looked fantastic. It looked very cinematic. I mean,
And
look,
it's set in my favorite era as well. You know what I mean?
hmm the High Republic era.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
But
it's
yeah,
it's that's when the Jedi thrived. You know.
yeah. I mean, the visuals were great. The music, they had the drumming, just got me hyped up. I mean,
It was a good trailer.
right when it started, I was like, man, what is this? And then I was like, oh shit, it's Star Wars. Like, this is a new Star Wars game. It's in early development. We're not going to see this thing for, I'm guessing, 2-3 years from
Yeah,
now.
I'm so excited for it though.
But yeah, this was the thing I was most excited to see announced at the Game Awards. The second
Do you think
most,
it's gonna have more more like RPG elements, or more like action,
I mean,
like action
I didn't
adventure
play
elements?
Detroit. Was it Detroit Becoming Human? I would
Oh,
assume.
okay. If it's similar to that, then that is very just narrative, kind of
Yeah.
walking around, which is okay. I'm still more than happy to walk around a Star Wars world and just make narrative
Yeah,
choices,
I don't think it's like an open world RPG
Yeah,
from my
but like
understanding.
big levels almost.
Yeah.
Like Detroit Become Human had like levels where it was like, hey, here's an apartment, or hey, here's an entire city block. Like it varies, you know what I mean?
hmm
So I have a feeling it'll most likely be like that too, you know?
Yeah.
Or like we said a while ago, that whole massive, like the old school Mass Effect approach, where it's like you're traveling to like just bigger levels, you know?
Yeah. All right. So the second most exciting thing that was revealed was Alan Wake 2, which I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Number one, I never thought we'd see a sequel because if people don't remember, the game came out a long time ago and was actually an Xbox
It was
exclusive.
like 2007, 2008.
Yeah, it came
Could have
out
been even earlier.
as an Xbox. I don't know if it launched on PC at the same time, but it definitely didn't go to the PS. And it was a game that
Wasn't it on PS3? I could have sworn it was on PS3.
if it did, it came much later. If it did,
Okay.
it came later because I know it was only on the Xbox and it just didn't do very well. It did okay. A lot of people had kind of poked fun at it, be like, "Hey, it's the game
Oh,
that
yeah, you're right. Sorry. It was never on PlayStation. My
yeah,
bad.
where you point a flashlight, at people, whatever." But I was drawn in by the atmosphere, the storyline, the characters. It has a David Lynch kind of inspired feel to it. So I had kind of given up on a sequel. They did have a DLC called American Nightmare that was a bit different. That went kind of like movie horror style. The one thing that's interesting is when Sam Lake came out to talk about it, he said it's going to be, instead of the first game, which was kind of like an action slash horror, action slash supernatural type game, that this would be more survival horror.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah, so that's a different spin on what Alan Wake was before. When that trailer hit, right when I heard his voice, I'm like, oh my god, this is Alan Wake 2. Just because I'm so used to hearing that voice. And I'm like, that's Alan Wake. This has to be Alan Wake 2.
He looks a lot. Well, I wouldn't say a lot older, but he's obviously older here.
Yeah, he's got
you know what I
long
mean?
hair. If people who've played the first game know, at the end it's kind of a cliffhanger ending. Things are not resolved, so I assume that the end of that has affected Alan Wake in the years after, till whatever point this game starts off at. But looks good. I'm excited for it. Like I said, didn't think it was going to happen. I'd have to thank, and this is a game that I loved, which was Control. I feel like the success of Control and having the Alan Wake crossover DLC probably kind of helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one other game in this series that I actually never played. Well, I mean, set in the same universe that I never played, because you have Alan Wake, and then before Control there was another game. Was it Quantum something or
Quantum Break? I think Quantum Break.
I think I actually never played that game, but
It's
apparently it's set in the same
only
universe.
yeah, it's only on consoles if I'm not mistaken. I don't think
Hmm.
there's a PC version because I had wanted to play it and they didn't have a PC version. But yeah, I know it was on Game Pass. I don't know if it still is, but it was on Game Pass, but only for Xbox, not for PC.
Oh, it is on PC.
Is it?
It's on PC, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, according to Google, I'm assuming so, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't play this. I remember it catching my eye when it came out, and I just never actually got around to
It
it.
has real actors like I think Lance Reddick and
Yeah.
Sean Ashmore. I can't remember if Sean or his other brother are in it. It uses kind of like I don't know if it's FMV, but they use, from what I heard, is like you play the game and then like once you like beat a level, it's like 10 or 15 minutes of straight up like a TV show.
Oh, okay.
and
It did seem, yeah. It reminded me of like the Heavy Rain, like those kind of style games, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm
It
excited.
is out on PC. Definitely try it out, I guess.
Yeah.
This is gonna be sick, dude. I think they did a good job as well, like you said, to be able to get people back into the genre, which was the crossover with Control, so people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's gonna play very well, and if anything, it'll boost the sales of the original as well, because people are gonna want to play the original to find out what happened, leading up to this. I never finished the original, so I don't know the cliffhanger you're talking about. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go and finish that game to figure out the cliffhanger.
Well,
I'm
they
sure,
just
like,
they just had the
yeah.
remaster, so the remaster just
Exactly.
came out.
I'm sure Alan Wake 2 will probably do like a catch up, but it'll be better it'll be better to actually just play it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's moving on. This one can't talk too much about because you didn't really see much, but it's the Wonder Woman from WB
I'm actually
Games.
low key excited for this. Like, even though it was just a teaser trailer, if it's anything like the Shadow of Mordor games, and it's like that, like I'm literally just picturing Shadow of Mordor, but with Wonder Woman, and it works. It works, man. I'm low key excited for that. I think it's actually going to be pretty decent. We're never going to get a Superman game. We're never going to get well, we might get a Flash game or a Superman game now that Unreal Engine 5 allows you to load assets at such a rapid rate. You can actually have things like super speed and super flight. But until then, like, Wonder Woman just makes sense in like in an action RPG kind of game. She makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
close quarters combat, you know? I think it's going to be really cool.
Using the lasso as well.
Exactly, yeah. But even then, that's like, still you're not like flying around throwing
Yeah,
buildings
she's got a
at people.
sword and a shield and everything.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be.
I wonder if they'll incorporate. I mean, no, they probably won't because they never put it in the movies either. But doesn't she have like an invisible plane or something?
Yeah. They put
Like,
it in the movie.
Yeah. Wait, did they put it in the movie? I never watched
the
Wonder
sec-
Woman.
in the second
the
one.
second one.
Yeah.
It was in the second one?
Yeah.
Oh. I couldn't get through the first 20 minutes of that movie.
It was not a good movie. I
Yeah.
very much like the first one.
The First one was great.
The second one, not so much.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I know we're not a movie show, but the reason why I think the second one didn't work was because the stunts didn't look real. Like the sense of gravity felt off. Every time she jumped, it was very clear she was on wires, and I was
there was
like,
just a lot
yeah,
not going well for it.
yeah. But yeah,
Finally,
moving on.
finally there was a Suicide Squad trailer that had actual gameplay.
Gameplay. Yeah,
Because we had
actual
seen this.
gameplay. And
Yeah,
it looks fun, man.
yeah. Um,
Like not what I was expecting, honestly. Like I don't know why I don't know what I was expecting. Well, actually, that's the thing. I had no idea what to expect from this game. And when I saw the gameplay, I was like, "This looks fun." It makes me think of Guardians of the Galaxy,
yeah.
the video game, except you can play as everyone by the looks of things. Because in Guardians, you can only play as Star-Lord, and you use like triggers to so you use like commands to trigger in your teammates' abilities and stuff. A lot like Final Fantasy 15 actually. But this looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like it's gonna be funny. I'm looking forward to it actually. Like it's really managed to catch my eye.
Seems like Flash is going to play a big part as an
Oh yeah,
antagonist in this one.
yeah. I think it's the whole Justice League. The whole Justice League has gone corrupt.
Mhm.
They've all like gone dark or gone
Yeah,
rogue
they're
or
all their
being
eyes are all
manipulated or
like
something.
yeah, all their eyes are
Yeah.
all messed up.
Like if we see Superman, he's gonna be in there for like a flash because I don't see how the Suicide
No.
Squad is gonna take down
Yeah,
Superman.
maybe it'll
Unless we
be
get, I guess we have to go get Kryptonite or something. You know what I mean? Maybe that's
yeah.
part of it. Um, I know you glossed over it, but I will say I'm so sad. Neither of us. Well, you don't have the Xbox Series X, do you?
No.
Yeah, I wish I had a PS5. I really want to try out the Matrix Awakens thing.
Yes, that's
I
something I
actually
want
really
to
want to try
talk
it out.
about.
Yeah,
That's something yeah, we'll talk about later cuz I have a whole thing
yeah.
about it. All right, let's move on to the next thing. I mean, there's so many.
What
Oh,
was the
there was
Halo TV series?
yeah. Elden Ring. There's a new Elden Ring trailer.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic. You know what I like about it? I never really played like Dark Souls games. But the art design in this game is just on another level. Like the characters, the way that they're designed, how unique they look. Like a lot of games, even if they're fun to play, they'll just have like look the same. You know what I mean? Like you just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But yeah, the art design in the characters and the weapons and how they it just looks fantastic. I mean, hopefully the game lives up to it. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we've seen a lot of gameplay. The gameplay does look like fun. I'm glad we've gotten like a cinematic trailer because we've just been getting like gameplay trailers, which is great. I shouldn't say that like it's a bad thing. It's actually great. But it's nice to like see like now it like feels official. Like I know
Mhm.
it's been official. The game's probably coming out like sooner than we think. Um, but yeah, it makes me excited for the in-game cutscenes and the in-game story.
Mhm. And then it won what was it, best upcoming game? What's the title for that award? Which I made fun of it the other week about it just because it's just a weird award to have, which was like it's like most anticipated game or something
Oh
like that.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
most
one.
anticipated game.
It's a weird award to have. It's like the game that's got the most hype, but we don't know if it's good or not. Game. So it
Yeah.
won. Jeff Keighley made fun of it because it won 2 years in a row because it did not come out
Oh, that's
last year.
funny.
So it's
Yeah, that's so true.
but now it's coming out in February. So it looks February 25th. So yeah, it looks so good. There was another Horizon Forbidden West trailer that came
Yeah,
out.
which the only thing that stood out for me there was just reminding us just how goddamn good like the graphics are looking because that was
Mhm.
gameplay as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the gameplay looks riveting, it's exciting. I'm ready for that continuation of the story, man. I'm gonna have to borrow a friend's PlayStation to play it or something
Mhm.
because the story is what got me hooked on that game, and it's the one thing that I've been waiting for is a sequel.
Mhm.
Like I've been craving the sequel. Like I would be satisfied watching someone play it on YouTube just for the story, but I know that it's gonna be way more fun to play because the gameplay looks like so much fun.
Mhm. All right. This is a twofer, which is they debuted the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie trailer. They had a
which I
video.
loved.
Yeah.
That was
So
great.
they had Jim Carrey do. He was hilarious. They had a
Oh
video.
yeah.
He wasn't at the awards, but he had a video. And he just went off on a tangent, and it was
I didn't see
funny.
that.
You did
I
not
didn't know
see
that.
that?
Yeah. No, I mean, I you got to keep in mind, I was sleeping when the Game Awards were
Oh,
happening,
okay. Yeah.
so
If
I
you
watched all the recaps, all the cool little live bits that happened. I missed.
So you missed all the presenters and
Yep.
whatnot. So okay. So
Unfortunately.
anyways, yeah, like when I was talking about Simulu, he did the best action game. He did a whole bit where he was like looking at his phone, and basically he was looking at Halo Infinite gameplay, and he was like talking about how pissed
Oh.
he's talking how like he was annoyed that he had to come present this award, and he'd rather be at home playing Halo Infinite, and he was just
Oh, that's
watching like
funny.
which is totally not true because obviously because there's like pictures of him going to like a concert after the after the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was cool. So Jim Carrey went on a rant before they announced
yeah, but they had one of
Sonic
those
trailer.
video, like he wasn't in there in person. It was like he filmed
like a
something.
cameo. Yeah.
It was basically, yeah, he basically presented. So what's this? I forgot the actor's name. Ben Schwartz, is that his name?
Oh, Ben Schwartz.
So
yeah.
who does
That's
Sonic's
Sonic.
voice? He's John Raffaello in Parks and Rec. Anyways, he came out. He was there live. He came out to toss to Jim Carrey, who then tossed to the trailer. Yeah, it looks
The
good.
trailer. Yeah.
I enjoyed the first one. It was a good surprise, and the
Mhm.
second one looks good. You got Tails in there. You got Knuckles. Sonic 2 was actually my favorite of the Sonic games. That was before Knuckles.
I mean, well, Sonic 2 is just it's very well remembered. It is one of the most like most played Sonic games as well.
It was the first one that had the like 3D-ish, because like the bonus level was like this
Feel, yeah.
3D-ish where you go down the tunnel and get all the stuff. And then also it was the introduction of Golden Sonic, where like if you got all the different Chaos emeralds,
Chaos gems and emeralds, yeah.
emeralds, like you would the last one, if you got the last one, like you would turn into Golden Sonic and basically be invincible, which was
When did they do Metal Sonic? Was that Sonic 3?
Ooh, no, I think it was past that. 3 was Knuckles. It might have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the point is the trailer was good. The trailer
Yeah.
was good,
looked fun.
but the game
So
they showed off.
this
Yeah.
it was confusing to me, to be honest. The Sonic Frontiers game, so it's like an open world Sonic game, but it was basically a cinematic, and it was weird because I couldn't really tell what was going on in terms of like.
It seems like it's kind of going to. Here's the thing. They've tried to make games like this before and they failed, but now we have the technology. For everybody I know who's a Sonic fan is actually quite excited about this because a lot. It's just a well-known fact that a lot of Sonic games recently have sucked, like pretty goddamn bad. They like re-release Sonic Colors because they're like, hey, let's give people games that they like and bring those games back that they liked. So it seems like the company knows which games the consumers like, and I think moving forward they're gonna push that. So it's gonna be it's just gonna be an open world Sonic game. You're gonna be running a lot. Your main source of combat's gonna be bouncing into the air and then bouncing on people's heads. So a lot of platforming. You're not gonna be using weapons or anything, of course. It's there've been other iterations of this type of game, but it's like it's 3D, but you're almost like on a track, like a racetrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's quite linear. Whereas with this, it seems like you're gonna be able to go fast in any direction you want. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, now with the success of the movie, and then maybe the second movie is successful as well. The Sonic IP itself has a resurgence. I mean, I was a huge Sonic fan back in the Sega Genesis days, and then I even got it for Dreamcast, Sonic Adventure.
Late
But
2022.
But yeah,
That's when it's coming out.
So now there's kind of this resurgence in interest because of the movie. So hopefully they can follow suit and maybe put some more resources into making the games good again. This is something you mentioned before. The Halo series trailer debuted. They had done a teaser before that had like barely shown you kind of the armor for Master Chief. Um, this one actually showed like footage from the actual TV show, which interestingly moved from Showtime to Paramount Plus now. I have to be honest with you. The visual effects, I don't know if they're done or not, but they don't look that high end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the budget isn't that big or they're just not that close to finishing it.
I was gonna say overall, it's a pretty good trailer. Like it's better than most live adaptations I've seen.
Yeah.
So they got that going for them. But you're right. Every time they cut to space, there's something about it that seems like a little. It's not that it seems low budget. It just seems that when they're filming the people, it seems like the budget's a lot higher. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or like it just the production quality is better. Like I'm looking at the faces and like there's these wonderful angles that they're using and these like they're tightening up. They're either using like dollies or like push-ins and these beautiful. They're doing really well. Like they're doing very good cinematography, but then it's lacking in that CGI department. It's not bad,
It's not
but
bad,
it's like
but it's not that.
it should be better, What's
Yeah.
okay, maybe that's a bad way to say it. The thing is it could be better. It's not bad, it could be better. I think as here's where it's going to get clunky is because we didn't is when we start seeing the people in space, you know what I mean? Or if we're looking at combat in space,
Hmm.
that's when it's going to get clunky. That's when I start to get a little iffy
Okay.
around it.
I hate to
They're just
say
panning to space every now and then. I don't really care.
I hate to say this because of the obviously the origins, and I love the franchise and I love the games. Some of the visual effects look too video gamey, and I know that's
Mm,
ironic because it's originally a video game. It's supposed to be a video game, but the whole thing is like if you're going to make it a TV show, make it a TV show. So
yeah.
that was
The
kind of my thing.
underground, that one underground city looked more real than the above ground city, and I
Hmm.
suppose it has to do with lighting. But that's CGI in a nutshell. Is if you really need to nail the lighting in CGI,
Yeah.
because it's like you're creating fake light, and you have to create every single type of fake light. And if you mess up the shadows or lighting, the CGI becomes less believable. But
Yeah.
that opening shot of the city, it was very like I was like, oh, this could be a game,
Yeah.
100%. Like this could 100% be a cutscene for a game. But then you see the underground city, and it's like maybe it's just because it was darker, so they're able to get away with more. But
Hmm.
like that seemed a lot more real to me than that above ground city that they did.
Yeah.
The spaceships looked okay. Like I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But it's just on the moments where it's like it's also difficult because they need to get to that point where it's like believable. You know what I mean? Or like I wouldn't say
Yeah.
believable, but like it's the reason why the CGI looks weird on like the big city for me is because it's highly unlikely to see that huge of a polished, clean city. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Utopia-esque looking city. So in the back of your mind, I mean, it's not real, obviously, because it's a TV show. But I don't know. There's something about that like slightly breaks the immersion for me.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was literally less of the city, like, or there was just like gaps in the city where there could be like other things going on. I don't know. It's too perfect looking. It's just not
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah. All right. I think that was the last big one. So I'm gonna run through some of these small ones, and you tell me quick thoughts on these. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade is coming
Intergrade.
to PC December 16th, which is only a few days
Yeah.
from now. So it's finally coming to
People are
PC.
complaining, Dennis. Like people
When
are
do
they
people
were
not complain?
it's so dumb. Like I've been every time I see the articles about this, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna pay that much money for a half-finished game," and it's like because people are still mad that they didn't get the entire
Hmm.
Final Fantasy VII game, which is a huge game. It came out on 4 discs when it was on the PS1. It was 4 separate discs you had to like switch out to be able to play the freak. It was a huge freaking game, man. And
Hmm.
people were like, "Oh, it's not the whole game." I'm upset. I'm like, well, first of all, it's a different game. They've changed the story. You know what I mean? So you can't even be like, "Oh, it's not the same." Of course, it's not the same. It's a different story. They had to change it to make it work, to make it make sense as well. You know what I mean? It's still like a good, like depending on how you play the game, you're getting it. You're definitely getting more than 20 hours. You know what I mean? Which I agree, 20 hours isn't the best. But so people are complaining about the integrate price point, but it's
Hmm.
like, listen, that's including the DLC as well. So
Hmm.
people are forgetting that. So they're like, "Oh, why is it so expensive?" I'm like, "Because it's about that 60, $70 price point." I'm like, it's including the DLC. People need to keep that in mind as well. And Final Fantasy VII on its own is a complete game. Yes, there's going to be a part two, but it is it's pretty much a complete game on its own right. Everybody who's complaining has just never tried it, you
Hmm.
know? And I don't think that they're ever going to try it because they're holding on to nostalgia. I loved the Final Fantasy VII original from like the PlayStation 1. And I think everyone should play it at least once in their life. And the fact that you can get it on your cell phone with touch controls, anybody can play it. But it's one of those games where it's like it's not going to be the same. The entire game's in a 3D space. It's things have to change. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, anyways, I'm excited for it. I actually wanted to pre-order it
Hmm.
the minute I saw it on the Epic Game Store. I wanted to pre-order it, but this is slightly off topic, but I guess the games as a service has really got me by the balls, Dennis, because I just spent 30 euros on a gun skin yesterday, and I want you to know that I don't regret it. Not a single part of me. I'm actually so happy I did it, and that's weird. So it's got me by the balls, Dennis. It was Valorant. It was the Champions 2021 gun because of the Champions Championship series. It's a limited time offer. They're never gonna bring the gun back. Well, they say that. A lot of people say that. Gaming companies always say that. We're never gonna bring it back.
Hmm.
But just in case they were being truthful this time, I was like, I need this skin. I need this gun. They're never gonna bring it back, and I absolutely love the gun.
Ugh.
I don't regret it. But yeah, $30
Josh,
is a hefty
you're the
price
reason
just for a gun
why
skin.
these companies can get
Oh,
away
you're
with
absolutely right. You're absolutely
these
right.
practices.
Yeah,
All right.
the reason they're successful is because of people like me. I
Uh,
know. But yeah,
real.
so that's the only reason I haven't pre-ordered it yet is because I need to wait till I got money for it again.
Yeah. So this was a funny commercial with that TV show Dave. Actually, 100 Thieves was in it as well. Nade
Yeah,
shot. So it was just a rebranding. Xbox Game Pass for PC is now PC Game Pass. Makes a lot more sense because
yeah,
technically there is no, Xbox on PC. There's an Xbox console and there's PC console. Of course, you're playing most of the same games, but they are two different systems. So now it's just called PC Game Pass. And really, Game Pass is really the brand. You already have
yeah,
people know Xbox is console. They just don't want to confuse people. And PC is PC, and Game Pass
yeah.
is Game
Instead of having
Pass.
Game Pass for PC Game Pass, I guess it makes sense. You're immediately saying what it's for right off the
Yeah,
bat, rather than letting people get confused. The trailer for Nightingale was kind of cool. It's
yeah.
who's this from? It was from
It's from
studio.
Inflection Games, which the CEO Aaron Flynn had worked on Dragon Age before.
Oh yes, that was it. Yeah.
It's a free to
Um,
play game, which I'm a little,
Oh, okay. That I don't know how I feel about. I thought that this was
ye-
if this was going to be like a $60 game, I'd buy it and then never have to like worry about it again. Because I'm not a fan of horror games, but I do love crafting games, especially if it's like you can be with your friends, you know? But yeah, if it's free to play, I'm a little iffy on that because I just don't see it doing well. It's not the kind
there's
like
so many free to
survival
play
games aren't the
games.
kind of games that people pull a lot of money
Is it
on.
a
You know, like
survival game? I couldn't tell. It was a
yeah,
steampunk.
survival crafting game.
Okay, it was like a steampunk, you know,
Like you're gonna be chopping
inspired.
down woods and like building your own like
Okay.
forts and stuff. Like it's games like there's never really been a free to play version of that game, and there's a reason for it is because you don't get your games as like where's your service?
Mhm.
The cosmet people aren't gonna care about the cosmetics too much. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean they'll care like you can do them in DLC packs like Ark Survival Evolved. People buy the DLC packs to have like your robot dinosaurs and stuff, but even then, the reason Ark Survival Evolved makes money is because the base game costs money. You know what I mean? The fact, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
I don't know if it's going to be. I just don't know if this is going to be successful. I know it's going to be fun and enjoyable, but long term, I feel like it's going to hurt them to not just charge like a $60 price for this game because it does look like a $60 game to me. You know what I mean?
mhm.
I can't be like, oh, this doesn't look like one. It has replayability. You know what I mean? Um, but I don't know where if it's free to play, I don't know where they're gonna get their money. Are we sure it's free to play?
I'll double check because when I watched, I was like, "Is this free to play?" And then I'm pretty sure I had checked. Let me double check.
Because
But
I know it says you can sign up, but that's probably for like the early access.
Nightingale game. Free to play. Let me see if it's free to play. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just really wouldn't
Yeah.
it would not make any sense
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. For
if
some
it was
reason
free to play. Like, I just don't know how they would make their money.
yeah. Maybe I had just seen the free the sign up and maybe that's
Maybe you
why.
saw the site. Yeah, it's probably just for the early access or something. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. I may be wrong about that then.
Yeah, it just says it's going to be releasing.
Okay.
There's no release date, but they're playtesting in 2022.
Okay. All right.
So that we don't. There's no price point
Okay.
on it.
Cool.
I
Yeah, I
don't
was
think it'll
wrong
be
about
free to
that.
play though.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
that
it
sign
does
up
look.
thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. Like, I hate horror games, but if I can play it with my friends, which it looks like they didn't really show that off too, but it seems like the kind of game where it might be multiplayer as well, you know, like or PvE, you know. I could be wrong about that too, but even if it wasn't, I like the idea of chopping down trees, making a little like cabin in the forest, and then hiding in it while shitting my pants because there's a bunch of demons coming at me, you know, or whatever. Um, yeah, it did catch my eye,
Mm-hmm.
which I like.
Yeah, I guess it was thrown off at the very end of the trail. It says sign up at
Hmm.
playnightingale.com. So
That does give you that like it does give you the impression that it's probably free to play.
yeah, and it also doesn't say it doesn't say anything else. Anyways, um, Hellblade 2,
Yeah,
Hellblade 2 trailer
yeah,
came out. Look great.
not my cup of tea
I haven't
personally. It
I
looks
haven't
great.
I haven't played the
Yeah,
first game yet. I planned on playing it, but then there's been so many good games on Game Pass recently, so I'm going to have to push that
yeah.
off and play the first game
I played a
sometime
little
when.
bit of it, and it was just it
What
was
did
just
you not like
not
about
for
it?
me
The
personally.
storyline, the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
the storyline, which is what it had it going for it, it just wasn't for me, and it was a
Mhm.
little bit slow paced in the beginning. You know what I mean? Where it's
Mhm.
like you got to be quite slow with it. But the game has always looked fantastic, which is why I'm sad I couldn't really get into the game because it looks so good. And
Mhm.
like a lot of people were saying when they saw the trailer for this, people were joking in the chat. They're like, my GPU is already crying. You know what I mean? Like my graphics card is already crying trying to run this game.
Yeah, cuz
People are excited for it. They're stoked.
I guess the cinematics were basically in-game like real-time graphics. And not pre-rendered. All right. Somerville. This is a game I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
This kind of cell-shaded, like very narrative-focused indie game. Love that it's coming on Game Pass. I think it's a great type of game to be on Game Pass. So I'm very looking forward to that. Um, there was a
Yeah, that looks really good.
there
Like
was a
there's not much to say about it, but it looks
yeah.
really good.
There's a Cuphead performance, live performance. I
There's
don't.
a live Cuphead
Yeah,
performance.
yeah, yeah. They
How did
said
I miss that?
I
I
told.
knew that there was a DLC trailer, but there was a freaking
Yeah, yeah,
performance.
yes. They sang the Cuphead song. So
Oh
yeah,
my
so you should check
gosh.
that out. You should check out the Jim Carrey thing. This is the things you miss when you don't watch the award show, and I think maybe that's why the awards didn't bother you as much because I was watching the awards live,
Yeah.
and like it was just I was kind of hoping for a little more award show. Anyways, there's gonna be a Dune RTS called Spice Wars. I think there was a Dune RTS way back in the day.
Yes, I was gonna say I loved it, man. I had no idea what the hell Dune was, but as a child, I played the Dune like RTS, and
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, man. It was very Command and Conquer inspired, you
Hmm.
know. So that's sick. I don't know if this is an art. Yeah, it is an RTS. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It
it is
just
an
looks like an
RTS.
updated version of the old school one. It's just that now
Yeah,
Dune has a bigger name with the movie that the rebooted. Well, I don't know if it's a reboot
Oh,
or
it's yeah,
whatever.
it's 100%. It's literally a reboot of that old game.
Yeah.
I love that game, so this has actually really got my eye. I saw the trailer and for some reason I assumed it was going to be like an RPG or something,
Uh huh.
or like an action RPG, but
Uh
like a
huh.
much lower scale. I didn't read the RTS, and that makes me a lot more excited because
Yeah.
I love the original RTS for that game.
This was a short trailer, Among Us VR. It was just a quick
Yeah,
like, hey, this is Among Us. It's gonna be VR, which is a perfect fit for it because I remember just seeing it before. I'm like, this would be great in VR because of the whole.
I hope that they use. There's a YouTuber who gained popularity. Who actually, I think he's got a couple. He's got maybe a couple million subscribers now,
Hmm.
like 1 or 2 million subscribers. But he's only there because he actually made his own version of Among Us in VR and
Hmm.
had like the popular streamers played with him. And I really hope that they like worked with him, or they don't have to. Like they obviously could have done it on their own, but it's like his version was very fleshed out and it worked really, really well. Um, this version has a different art style. It has like I like the cutesy art style to it. The point is it works because someone did already make a fan-made version in VR and it works and it's fun. The venting, it was a bit tricky to figure out venting, so I'm
Hmm.
curious as to see how they're gonna do how they're gonna do venting in Among Us in
Hmm.
VR. Because in the fan made one, it was like you take the vent, but then you're like basically just upstairs and you can walk around. You can like look down on people before venting down
Hmm.
instead of venting into the ground, which is the Among Us game. I think you're venting into the
Yeah.
ceiling. But with this one, I don't know how it's gonna work. They'll probably try to keep it same as the game where you vent down, but then I guess you have to like look up through the cracks. Who knows? It's gonna do really well. I would go so far as to say that it might even be the second coming of Among Us, which was so popular. People don't play the game as much nowadays,
Yeah.
because streamers don't really play it as much nowadays. You got to keep content fresh and new. But once this comes out, I see this being a huge hit on YouTube gaming and Twitch. I definitely think it's gonna blow up.
Um, there's a Star Trek game. It's called Star Trek
Oh my
Resurgence, and
God.
it's
I can't
from.
bel sorry, I was reading this article and I just realized we're already at the point where we're calling it the Meta Quest 2.
Yeah.
It's no longer the Oculus Quest.
I'm
The
still
Meta
calling it the
Quest 2.
Oculus.
I
But
know,
the
same. I went to the support page the day I got my Oculus Quest and it was just Meta Quest 2 and I was like, "Oh my God, it's already
still an
happening."
Oculus to me. It's still Facebook to me. But Star Trek Resurgence, it's from a bunch of the Telltale former
Mm,
Telltale
this
developers.
looks good as well.
And yeah, and you can see that. Look, it's not a very graphically impressive game, but it's just a more narrative
Yeah.
focused where you make
The story's going to be
decisions.
good, you know?
Yeah.
I
So
think the story's going to be good because of the collaboration with Viacom CBS.
yeah, if you make
Like
this game
because
like
they're working close together.
if you make this game, $20, then I think
Mm.
or if it's
They'd
on
be
Game
dumb to make it
Pass.
anything more. Like any Telltale type of game should
Hmm.
never be more than $20.
Yeah,
If they put that $20 price point, people are more than happy to pay for it because they're like, hey,
it's
that's
like a
how much I would have
story. Yeah,
spent. That's also how much you would have spent at like the movie cinemas with some popcorn and stuff. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, so it makes sense. You know, you're getting that experience. You can probably finish it in like a weekend. You know,
yeah.
so no, I
Um,
think I think that's gonna be good. There was another game that got announced by I think Telltale. What was that? It was The Expanse. Yeah,
oh,
they're doing a game for The Expanse, the Netflix TV show.
hmm no,
That looks
Amazon.
really.
Maybe it's on Netflix for you guys. It's on Amazon Prime for us.
Oh no, yeah, it was on Netflix,
Yeah, I
South
know how
Africa
that
for
gets
sure.
weird, changed around. Like I remember when we were doing the Twin Peaks VR game, and like we were working with some European developers, and they were watching the they were watching the show. Like for us, it's on Showtime.
Yeah,
It was on HBO there, so apparently wherever their country was, they didn't have Showtime. I don't think there was any Showtime, and so like they
yeah,
had it on HBO, which is interesting. It's
yeah. No, we,
funny
we
seeing how
we
that's
have it. We have it on Netflix over here, I believe.
yeah,
Um, Even I think Twin Peaks we also had on our Netflix here at a very brief point in time, like
yeah.
the old school Twin Peaks show.
Yeah, the
Uh,
old school one is everywhere, but the new one was
yeah,
only Showtime.
I didn't really enjoy the TV show per se, but I feel like I'll enjoy the game more. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? The game looks like it's up my alley.
Yeah. So Will Arnett came out with what
Will
was it?
Arnett was there, man. I should have watched the. I should have just watched the 2 hour recap. I'm so mad at myself for just clicking through. I was
Uh,
reading the articles instead. Oh, I love Will Arnett.
so he came out and he introduced the new Tiny Tina's Wonderland trailer to show off the Borderlands spin-off game. Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, presentations,
I
I guess.
wasn't excited for. I was okay. Here's the thing. I was excited for this game when they announced it because
Hmm.
I had no idea what it was going to be like, and I thought maybe it's going to be like Borderlands, but instead like fantasy related, which it is. But I wasn't thinking guns. I was thinking like you get to use like swords and magic and
Uh-huh.
stuff. But as we found out it was a couple months ago, the free to play game on Epic Games was the DLC, the Tiny Tina Wonderlands DLC for Borderlands 2, which I didn't know about. And I played that and I loved it. And that literally is the inspiration for this game.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed that. So I actually really am looking forward to this. There's something, it's just Borderlands, but it's just fun having like like weird worlds. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's the setting's very different. And it gives it a bit of whimsy. So I am actually I wait from looking forward to it to not looking forward to it to looking forward to it again.
Yeah. This one is interesting because it's
Yeah.
Rumbleverse from Epic Games, which is basically it's Fortnite, but instead of using guns, it's like a pro wrestling slash melee
Melee.
like
Yeah.
combat, like Smash Bros. Like imagine Fortnite meets Smash Bros.
I'll put money
Meets
on this,
pro
Dennis.
wrestling.
I'll put money on this to say that this game is gonna be one of the most played games, and then in 2 weeks people are gonna forget about it. I feel like it's gonna be the next Fall Guys.
It'll be
Like people are
like
gonna love it, and then they're
yeah,
just gonna forget about it and
yeah,
stop playing it. Because
probably.
it looks like a lot of fun, but there looks like there is very little room for innovation there.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little room for them to add things. It's not like they can add vehicles or add like
Mm-hmm.
maybe they could add vehicles, but they can add very little to that game. You know, other
Mm-hmm.
games like the reason Fortnite works is they can keep adding new guns. They can
Yeah.
change the map. They can do that. There's like unless like if they're focusing just on like wrestling and melee, like there's not much they can add besides different skins. You know, it looks
Mm-hmm.
silly. It looks like I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna have fun playing it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna fall off the map, kind of like Fall Guys did, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, it's hyped up and people love playing it, and then after a while they're like, okay, it's not like after you play it for like a couple hours, you're like, this isn't really this. I'm not getting anything else out of this. Like my experiences aren't different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Forspoken gameplay trailer um, came out. Don't have much to say about that.
They also put out like a 4 minute. Um, I think they put not regarding to the Game Awards, but recently they put out a little 4 minute clip of her running through the world, getting to a treasure chest,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a little bit of gameplay there, and I don't know how I feel about this. Like, regardless of story, this is the kind of game I would play for the gameplay because it was initially shown off like a long time ago to be like, look at what the Unreal Engine 5 could do. You know what I mean? And I was like, look at how fast you can run through these areas and how quickly they can load. But then I saw some of the gameplay and I was like, it seems like they nerfed the running from the previous gameplay trailers, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like more like a dash, where you got to keep like dashing, like doosh, you got to keep like uh, there's like it kind of breaks the momentum for me. The gameplay looks fun. Some people are skeptical about the I don't know why they're worried about this, but I was reading a lot of people are skeptical about like the racial issues in this game, or like if they're going to bring up any at all, or
Mm-hmm.
like what that's going to be about. And it's they're worried that like because she's an outsider, right? I think the people are worried that because she's an outsider, the dynamic of the story being treated as an outsider is going to be different from it having to be racial
Mm-hmm.
treatment. You know what I mean? Like having it's yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I'm less excited for this game just because of the gameplay I saw. I still think I'm gonna try it out. Like it's one of those games where if it comes out, I'm definitely gonna try it out, but I'm skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Or like not skeptical. I'm like I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. You know, I'm gonna go in open-minded. I think I'm gonna enjoy the game. It does come out on PC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's a PlayStation is an exclusive and then slash PC or something like that.
yeah, it will
Yeah.
eventually be on P. It might be like a timed thing
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it won't be on PC first, but it'll be on PC eventually. and it seems this game has come a long way from when we first saw it. First of all, there wasn't even a main protagonist when we first saw this game. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
character model was completely different. Like they've built a story into it. It's like they took the game mechanics and they built the story and game around the game mechanics, and I don't know how that's gonna work out for them.
Hmm.
Um, I just hope it's fun because when I was looking at it, I was worried, especially the latest gameplay that I saw. Something about it just seemed like the flow wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like, and the gameplay has to have flow. Like the combat has to have like a good flow to it. And if it doesn't have that, if it seems like you're losing momentum mid fight, it's not gonna have it be a nice feeling to play. You know?
Hmm.
But that's my takeaway from it.
All right. PUBG is finally free to play. Took them
Well,
long
they
enough.
have to if they want to make money. If they want to survive, they have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember PUBG was in like Fortnite kind of came around the same time, and then Fortnite
They're
just took.
doing PUBG Plus. I didn't even know.
Uh,
Oh, they're doing like a subscription thing. Oh, Battlegrounds Plus.
uh,
Oh no. Oh
um.
wait. Oh wait. No. I think it's a one-time fee. Okay, it's not
Okay.
too bad. It's only $13. That's actually really not bad. Yeah, Battlegrounds Plus, which offers more, including a ranked mode for a one-time 12.99 fee.
Okay.
Okay,
One time is
I,
fine.
I'm perfectly fine, especially because it's cheap. I'm perfectly happy with that. Also, it gives you like a bunch of that comes with a bunch of stuff. You get bonus 1,300 G coins. You get Survival Masters XP plus 100% boost.
Hmm.
You get the career medal tab. You get ranked mode. Um, so yeah, I guess in order to like play ranked, you do have to pay that $13 fee. There's custom match functionality, which is also once again you have to pay the $13 fee. In-game items including Captain Camo sets, which includes hat, camo mask, and camo gloves. Honestly, for $13, that sounds pretty good. Actually, that
Hmm.
sounds pretty good. 'Cause I thought it was like a monthly fee, but if it's a
Hmm.
one-time fee, that's pretty good.
Yeah. New game called Slitterhead, coming
Yeah,
from the
I don't like the
silent
name
from the Silent Hill creator. It like when I saw the
Slitterhead.
trailer, I was like, "This is such a Japanese game," you know.
Yeah, the
Um,
game looks cool though, I will say,
it
but
just
yeah,
looks
the name.
weird and funky, and like the design of the Slitterhead creatures.
It's just based off of so many Japanese horror movies and
Yeah,
like animes that I've seen.
yeah.
Like I forget the guy's name. There's a Junji Ito, I think. I'm surprised he didn't like help them on this or work on this with them.
Mm,
Junji Ito. I could be saying his name wrong, but he's like I would say he's low key the god of horror manga in
mhm,
Japan. And just obscured shit like this. But this like the opening scene is actually like a very common horror trope in Japan of like seeing like a Japanese girl on the street and then she turns into like a demon and tries to kill you.
mhm,
It's a common trope. I've never seen it before in a video game, so that's quite cool. I'm excited for that. And the game actually looks more fun than scary, to be
mhm.
honest, you know? Like it looks like there's gonna be those oh shit moments where you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, because you're getting chased,
Yeah.
but you're still, yeah, it's exciting.
Okay. We got to get to some other topics. I'm just gonna run through these really quick. Plague
Yeah.
Requiem, Dying Light 2, Stay Human, Crossfire X. They announced Fortnite Chapter 3, Blood Hunt, which is only going to be on PS5 and PC,
This
which is
made
free to
zero
play.
sense to me, Dennis. The Blood Hunt trailer.
Uh-huh.
They're like, look, the game's finally coming out. I'm like, I've been playing the game for like 3 months. What the hell are they talking about? Like, they're like, it's coming. I get it. If it's coming to PlayStation 5, I get that. But they're like, it's coming to PS5 and PC. I'm like, it's been on PC. It's been on PC this entire time. What are they smoking? Like, also, I, th- I'm pretty sure this trailer was to try to get people back into the game because their servers are so empty now. People
Mhm.
dropped off that game. So the game was fun, but like the guns were a bad idea in my opinion. They should have just been like vampire powers and stuff,
Mhm.
or like minimal guns. You know what I mean? I don't know. The game was fun, but there's nothing about it that keeps you hooked and making you want to play it more.
Mhm.
I don't think that this trailer is gonna help them too much. You know, I think getting players on console will help, but yeah, I don't know. This game's not going to be around in a few years,
Mhm.
especially because they canceled Vampire the Masquerade 2, which they took everyone's money and they like Like I think everybody who pre-ordered the game that was supposed to come out like like beginning of this year never came out. Everyone got an email from the company saying, "Hey, we are no longer developing the game, or the game's like on hiatus or whatever." And then a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people got their money back for the pre-order,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad because that would have been great. But instead, they're focusing all their energy on this Blood Hunt game, and I think that that's a dumb decision on their part. I think it's just gonna hurt the company, but hey, it is what it is.
All right, last two things: Saints Row, trailer for the new game, and then Arc Raiders, which looks interesting because it's like a co-op PVE sci-fi shooter. The graphics actually look
Mm.
pretty cool. Some ex Dice devs are on that. I don't know if you want to say anything about Saints Row, but I never played.
I'm looking forward to playing it. I do
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the Saints Row series. It's just one of those games where I really enjoyed it up until GTA 5. When GTA 5 came out, I was like, why would I play Saints Row when I can play GTA 5? You
Mm-hmm.
know, that
Mm-hmm.
was just my thought process. And then it just got crazy to the end, man. Like Saints Row 4 was like, hey, you can fly. There's superpowers. You can fly, and so you're a superhero now. You know what I mean? It's like I think rebooting the original is going to be a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
Arc Raiders, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm excited to try it out.
It
Three
looks
player co
cool.
Yeah, it
The
does look
visuals
cool.
look
Three
cool.
player co-op, I thought it would be more than that, but three-player co-op makes sense because it's easier to coordinate with a team and actually like have proper like coordination when it comes to comms. Um, it does look cool. There's a
It's
couple of the scenes that looked at night, and that looks cool to me. Like when you're like actually like you're seeing the drones fly around at night,
mm-hmm.
and there's actual like like the beams of light coming down. And you're trying to avoid them, so there's like that stealth moment to it.
Yeah.
That looks quite fun as well. Yeah.
Visuals look fantastic. I like the design of everything.
Mm.
The one thing is, it's a free-to-play game, which is interesting for this. It's a three-player co-op where you're fighting these,
Yeah.
giant robots. Free-to-play.
It can work. It truly depends on the cosmetics because the game is built in a way that I don't really see you having weird cosmetics or they're gonna have to do very simplistic, basic cosmetics for
Mm.
this game to like keep the feeling of it and keep the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, you can't go too crazy with it because of the way it looks. All right, last thing, which you had mentioned before, but I kind of want to get into a bigger discussion about this, which is the Matrix Awakens experience, which
Yeah.
they had. It was a toss to video where Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss
Yeah, I saw that.
promoted that. So basically, it's not a game, but it's a demo of a game-like experience
Yeah.
that
It's
is
like, it's an Unreal Engine
yeah,
demo basically.
yes. I mean, Unreal Engine 5, basically promoting that, and there's a tie-in with the Matrix, and basically you can download this on your Xbox Series X or your PS5. It is not available for PC, at least not that I know of, because otherwise I would have played it
It's
already.
not. Yeah,
I,
it's
I have
not.
a feeling because they need to hit a minimum required graphics, and it's just
Yeah.
with PCs being up and down and whatever, they didn't want people to be like trying to download it and play it that
They
couldn't.
don't want people to
Anyways,
have a shoddy experience. They want
yes.
people to have the Matrix experience, you know what I
Okay,
mean?
I don't know if you've seen video of this thing, but it looks
I have.
amazing.
That's why I'm really like low key pissed it's not on PC because every single person who's tried it said that like there were so many like small details that they were amazed by like the procedurally generated scratch marks on billboards and
Yeah.
like everything it's a great demo of Unreal Engine and what we can expect with games moving forward into the future, but
Yes.
it looks gorgeous, Dennis. Like holy crap.
The reason why I wanted to talk about this kind of after we're done with the now that we're done with the Game Awards is that to me this is the first thing that I've seen on either the Xbox Series X or the PS5 that has made me want to go. I've been,
Mm.
if people have been listening to this podcast and about how much like I don't, not that I don't care. I will plan on eventually getting an Xbox Series X and a PS5 or whatnot. It's just right now I don't feel anything pushing me to get one. Seeing this demo and seeing what it holds, that makes me excited because it shows me a different level than what we had with the previous generation, right? Like
Exactly, yeah.
everything that we're getting now for the PS5 and Xbox Series X obviously looks better. There's a lot of cool new features. I'm not saying it's not worth it. What I'm saying is nothing so far is taking it to a level where like you can't do that on the previous generation,
Yeah.
And this is one of them. Or actually the first thing I've seen that is like, wow, that's, you can't do that. It's like the graphics look close to like realistic, just some of the way that they handled a lot of the, like you can fly around an entire city,
Yeah, and the helicopter and stuff. It's insane, man.
Yeah. So
The cars, like there's so many cars. There's
Yeah.
so like I can't remember the amount, but it's ridiculous how many different cars there are
it's
and
like
stuff like that.
20 or 30,000 cars or what, not different types, but just different cars. And then there's all these
Yeah.
people that are running around the city. And I mean, the people themselves, there is, that uncanny valley where it's like, looks realistic, but it's not quite, you can kind of, tell, but like in terms of the environment, like the buildings and the cars and everything, that they almost look real. I mean, this is a game changer to me in terms of not just video games, but think about movies and television, the things that you can do with this type of graphics on the fly in real time, so
It's also going to be it's going to be very beneficial to indie filmmakers who want to do CGI.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like they can get away with having less of you can get away with getting some amazing end results with a slight you still need a budget, of course, but like you're not going to need to break the bank in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Moving forward with Unreal Engine 5. And I think we're definitely going to see that in the Matrix Resurrections as well. You know what I mean? We're going to see it in the movie, I believe,
Yeah. So yeah, I was very like, because when they said like, hey, go check this experience out, I was thinking, okay, it's just going to be a little tie-in with the Matrix and to promote the movie and whatnot. It'll be cool.
Sorry, 17,000 simulated and destructible vehicles.
Yeah.
And they sure as hell were. I saw like clips of people just doing pileups like on the fucking highway, like just like 20 car pileups, and it just. I know it shouldn't say it looks great, but it looks great. Like graphically, it looks great. You know what I mean?
The damage when you damage the car is consistent with how you damaged it, right? It's, you hit like this part of the car, that's the part of the car that gets damaged or scratched, or you know what I mean? It's not like a set. I don't know. It's just it's very impressive. So if you do have a PS5, or it's free too, or Xbox Series X, download it, play it, take a look at it. I mean, honestly, that's the first thing that made me feel like, damn, I wish I had an Xbox Series X. I wish I had a PS5.
That was my initial reaction. I was really like, fuck, I wish I had a PS5. Like for a while, it was also like, I'm not gonna lie, because I do love the Ratchet and Clank series. I love platformers in general, so I would get a PS5 just for Returnal and for Ratchet and Clank, as well as Miles Morales. But Ratchet and Clank is the one game where you don't really get to see it because it is that kind of cartoony vibe, but it does push that like hardware to its limits in terms of when they do you're hopping from like dimension to dimension. The instant loading is where you start seeing that hype, as well as the ray tracing, which looks gorgeous in that game. But this is the first game that uses they're like, hey, look at how real we can make things look.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank was like, look at how pretty we can make things look. This is like, look at how real we can make it look. And I was like, fuck, I want a PS5, man.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for Game Awards related stuff. Now I want to. It's funny because we're talking about this huge, the awards, and like something pretty big happened was Halo Infinite. The campaign came out last week. It's not like it was like, oh, a few weeks ago. It came out last week. It's just now we have to talk about it. I had posted my first impressions video. At that time, I had only played like 2 to 3 hours. I'm currently about probably 7 to 8 hours into it. I'm about halfway through the game because I'm mixing in some of the open world stuff plus the storyline missions. Because storyline missions, I heard like you can kind of finish it in like 8 to 10 hours. But I mixed in some of the, attacking enemy bases, et cetera, all that stuff. I want to hear your first impressions because I've already given mine in a separate video, but I'll have some follow-up. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
would like to say moving forward for anybody who is listening to this, or well, actually more particularly for the people who are watching this on YouTube, leave a like and a comment, and let me know if you actually want to see my true first impressions because I did record
Okay.
um, the first 20 or 30 minutes of the game, and my actual genuine first impressions were there. How the only reason I haven't given it to you is because I realized that my OBS was set to streaming, so my entire file was like less than a gig. The quality look doesn't is not that good, but you'll be able to see my actual first
Mm-hmm.
impressions. I was thinking of literally like right after this Discord call, I was thinking of I've set my OBS up properly. I was thinking of recording that first opening scene anyways,
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake of the channel, and I'll play a bit of it. But yeah, leave a comment if that's something you would like to see. If that's something you would like to see, then I'll definitely I'll work on that and we can put up some gameplay. But speaking of my first impressions, dude, wow, I loved it. Took me a second to optimize. Okay, first of all, it took me like hours to get the game to work, but that's because of Xbox gaming services. Nothing to do with Halo. I was having some severe issues with my Xbox gaming services. I had to do so much like weird things, and I think I had to like reset my Microsoft Store in order to like
There
because it
was a
wasn't.
lot of issues. I mentioned that in my first
Yeah.
impressions video, and some people didn't believe me. They're like, "Yeah, it's fine." I'm like, "No, it was not fine."
It was, I mean, but it's mainly the Game Pass version that seems to be having these issues from
Yes.
the research I did. Like the Steam version, not having issues. The console versions, they're not having issues. It was the Game Pass for PC version that was
Mm-hmm.
mainly having these bugs. Um, once I can't remember what I did, but like I went through so much trial and error. Eventually, I found an article, and I wish I found this article first because when I followed the thing that they told me to do, I fixed it in like 3 or 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent 2 hours before that trying to fix it. Anyways, once it was up and running, I then obviously had to optimize the game, which took a bit because I wanted to make sure that I'm getting the absolute best out of the game in
You
terms of
may have to
graphic.
send me your settings because so originally when I first started the game, everything was automatically set to pretty low, just to like
Hmm.
basically performance based. So like the FPS was super
Yeah,
high.
because of multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's which is true. Like for multiplayer, you want it to have it set low so that you get
Yes.
like low latency. You can perform better. So I had to change it for that. Like I use a GeForce, the game optimizer on GeForce,
Mm-hmm.
the GeForce Experience, and it's it's been clashing with my new screen because I've got the Dell 27-inch 2K. It's 2K quality, which I've been
Mm-hmm.
playing games on 2K with like 165 refresh rate, which has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but obviously, I can't play my like our graphics card can't handle playing high-end graphics at 2K. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can do 180p. You know what I mean? Like with as much frames as you want, but then as soon as you bump it up to 2K, you're gonna have to
Yes.
like you're gonna have
That's
to start taking away at certain other points. Like
that's
if
what's
you want
happening to me.
2K, yeah, if you want 2K, you're gonna get 60 frames a second or less. If you play 1080, you'll get as many frames as you want. The game is beautiful. I had like some slight shader issues with the hair, with
Mm-hmm.
some of like the first guy, I forget his name, the guy who talks to you, who wakes up
They just call him
after sleep.
Pilot. They don't have. He doesn't have a
Yeah,
name. They call him the
okay.
Pilot.
So Pilot, yeah, he like I had a bit bugs on his hair, but other than that, the game looked great. Like it looked fantastic, man. That the armor, like everything besides the hair for me looked fantastic. Once the game started playing, I actually enjoy the campaign more than the multiplayer.
Really?
I do love the multiplayer,
Mm-hmm.
but it's obviously way less sweaty playing the campaign, you know? The first brute I ran into scared the shit out of me because he just starts running towards you and you're like, ah!
Yeah.
And you just trying to mow him down with a gun. So that was kind of scary because I was like, why is he not dying? I'm shooting him in the face. And they like, yeah, they got a lot of health. But I also felt really bad killing those little guys.
Oh, grunts.
Like, yeah, they're kind of adorable, and you feel
Yeah.
bad shooting them, you know? Like, I felt like I still feel bad. Even when they shoot me, I'm like, aw, look at the little guys. Like, I struggled. I'm not gonna lie, I really genuinely struggled trying to shoot those guys, you know? I felt bad. I felt like a bully, Dennis. But the game's fun, man. I'm actually, like I said, I'm low-key enjoying it a bit more than the campaign because it's actually, this is the best way to say it. I feel like the campaign is getting me better, getting me more ready for the multiplayer.
Oh, definitely
And
for me.
I'm learning the guns more. It's kind of there's a learning curve, you know what I mean? So it's able to like slightly push you in that direction. Where I feel like if once you finish the campaign and you hop into multiplayer, you're gonna have a much better time than hopping into multiplayer right away.
Yeah, I definitely the guns, being able to feel out the guns in that environment is much, because in multiplayer I never get a chance, because like I pick up one of the other guns that aren't the normal ones, and like I try to use them and then I die, and it's like that's
You have
it.
like you got like 30 seconds to learn how to use that gun. If you don't learn how to use that gun right away, you're screwed.
Oh.
I mean, obviously there are people out there that play Halo multiplayer all the time that are unfazed by this, but if for somebody like me, I'm having a good time playing the multiplayer. I just know the campaign is going to give me a better handle on the guns. Like when I played the multiplayer, I pretty much just strictly use the guns that I do know how to use. This is going to teach me how to use the other guns and the other abilities. Also, it's going to teach you the appropriate time to use the guns, because it's like if you get to a certain area, there's going to be a gun there, and you know, okay, I have to use this gun for this type of situation, and it kind of helps you learn that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I I just wish there was co-op right off the bat, because I'm not gonna lie, within the first like 30-40 minutes, I was like, wow, this opening sequence is amazing, and then I was like, I want Dennis here, you know, I want to have someone next to me shooting people with me, man.
Yes,
Like
and there's
I was,
certain
yeah.
missions where that it feel so much better with a co-op person.
Yeah, no, my first impressions of this game are great. Like, I haven't seen the reviews for campaign yet, but they've got to be good. Like,
They
I'm
are
sure they're,
good.
I'm
They're
sure the
not
reviews are
as
good.
glowing as the multiplayer. They're
Mm.
between. They're
They gotta be at
positive.
least
They're
around
they're
8.
positive mixed. They're probably like a lot of between 7 to 9s, right? Scores 7 to 9,
Okay.
7, 8, 9.
I'd believe that, because I would give it an 8. Like, I would give it an 8, maybe an 8.5. That
Yeah,
would be my, but that's good. That's a really good score. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, that's genuinely good score. I think that there's a the only reason that I give it an 8.5 as well is because of no co-op. I would probably boost that up to a 9,
mm-hmm.
9.5 if there was co-op. So no co-op is an 8.5. But also the game, I can tell the game's not going to be very long, you know?
No,
But then again, with these type of multiplayer influenced games, the story, even looking like back at the older Call of Duty games, the stories weren't that long. They were really good, they were in depth, they were fun, they were action packed, but they weren't long, and that's
no,
okay because the game is built for multiplayer. You know?
yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's a different feel because it's an open world instead of a linear kind of set you on this path. You kind of choose where you want to go, and there's some fun things about it, and then some other things that don't quite work as well. But yeah, overall, I'm having a great time playing. I mean, it's the combat, right? I mean, that's where
Mm.
Halo comes when it comes down to it. It's the combat and that kind of perfection of the combat that they had and they carried through. They kind of lost their way a little bit when 343 took over from Bungie, and then now they've kind of realized and kind of gone back to the old school way and not trying to complicate things. It's it's pretty straightforward, and the combat scenarios that you have with enemies, that's the fun of the game. And even if it does get a little repetitive in the things that you have to do, the combat's so good that you kind of let it go. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
hopefully, yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just for anybody listening to this, play it. You
Yeah.
know, if you don't want to fork out the entire full price for it, do your $1 to get your 3 months of Game Pass for $1. You know what I mean? And play the game. You can definitely finish the game in like a weekend if you want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do it that way if you guys don't want to fork out the money for it. But play it. It's fun. You know, multiplayer is completely free as well.
Yeah. All right. We'll probably, once you and me finish the game, we'll probably do a spoiler review of that once it's done.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to talk about, I had mentioned this briefly about After the Fall. It's from the makers of Arizona Sunshine. It's a 4-player co-op VR game. You can get it on
Actually,
PC.
didn't know that, but that makes sense. Sorry, I didn't know it came from Arizona Sunshine. That
Yeah.
makes that makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
actually. Like, it seems like the natural progression.
Yeah. It's you can get on PC or you can get on the Quest. I would recommend getting on, if you do have a Quest and a PC, I would recommend getting the Oculus version because it's a cross-buy, so you can play both the PC and the Quest. But to be honest, like, look, obviously the PC has better graphics, but it isn't to the level where, to be honest, I just play the Quest version because I'm like,
Hmm.
for the Quest, it's pretty damn good. And the benefit of having the freedom and also the less, with Airlink, you do have a bit of lag, streaming wirelessly to your headset. And yes, you have better graphics, but overall, it's just, I think, just a better experience just to play the native Quest 2. Unless, obviously, if you have your own Rift S or Index or whatever, and then, yeah, just play the PC version. But if you do have the choice between the two, I think the Quest 2 is the way to go. And having a blast playing it. It's basically what they said. It's Left 4 Dead in VR. You go on these missions, and then there's these safe houses, and then you can boost up your different weapons. You can upgrade your weapons and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. So all right. After that, the next thing, or the last thing I have, is this Activision Blizzard kind of strike slash. I think the CEO had sent out a message.
Asking people not to unionize, which
Yeah,
is
I mean, he didn't
that's
say
so evil.
exactly that, but basically, like, warning them, like, don't, if you sign. He didn't say anything that was, I guess, technically wasn't illegal, or was, yeah, technically wasn't illegal, but it was like, be careful, if you sign this thing, you give up your rights to, and they have to do all the negotiating for you, which is basically what unions
Yeah.
do. He would just set this out as like this, as a way to dissuade people from unionizing. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys, it's late here.
Unionization, yeah.
Yeah, it's late here. But anyways, but in response, basically a bunch of staff decide to
They're planning a walkout. There's a
yeah.
strike. I
And
believe there's also, I could be wrong. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe page at the moment to like help fund the strike, which is good. I think that this is all. I think that this is good because look, things need to change at Activision Blizzard.
yeah.
I God, I try not to get emotional talking about this because, like I said, I had I had Blizzard posters up in my
Mm-hmm.
in my childhood bedroom, Dennis. I worshipped Blizzard, and when I hear about all these things, especially like, look, some of the things that happened at Activision are bad, but by the looks of things, it's a big issue at Blizzard. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I mean, Bobby Kotick from Activision, yeah, he does some scummy things, but like the environment at Blizzard seems to be way more like hostile. You know, especially towards women, and like it's just very like frat boy kind of culture.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Activision's got it too, but Blizzard's got it bad, and something needs to change. They either need a complete like rebrand where like a different company needs to like buy them or like spearhead the thing, but something things need to change. My worry here is that this doesn't work. And by that I mean the last time I saw people plan a strike and say they're going to unionize, I don't know if you remember the Kellogg's situation. Kellogg's that
Yes.
make yeah, they decided to unionize and then Kellogg's was like, "Okay, cool. We're just not going to we're just going to hire other people."
Yeah.
Which is horrible, but that's exactly what happened. They were like, "Okay, cool. We're well, you guys are all fired.
Yeah.
We're going to go hire people who
Yeah,
aren't
they're getting a lot
unionized."
of backlash for that right now.
They are getting a huge amount of backlash for it, but like it's one of those things where like there's legally is nothing stopping them. I guess if they don't want to hire union workers, they don't want to hire union workers. It's a horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like same like it's just this is the one company that would feel the backlash. This company would feel the backlash of that though. Kellogg's people they're not going to feel it because it's like they got people in like third world countries eating their cornflakes that are like none the wiser to what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. You know what I mean? So no one's going to boycott or ban their stuff. Whereas Activision Blizzard, the gaming industry, if the gaming industry is like, yo, you fired all your union workers, this doesn't sit well with us. We're going to start boycotting your stuff. They will feel that. Their stocks will feel that. So it's interesting to see where things are going to go moving forward. But things need to change, man. They need to change because I used to love this company, and to be fair, everybody who I loved who worked at the company is no longer involved. They either
Mm-hmm.
have their own spin-off studio because there's like so many studios that came out of Blizzard in the past couple of years, like so many like spin-off studios that are like, we don't want to work for Blizzard, we want to do our own thing. You know what I mean? And I thank God they did that too, because if they were still tied to the company, I'm sure it'd be like very difficult for them to move forward with their own IPs and their own
Mm-hmm.
companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, But shit needs to change, man. It needs to change. It's like we went into it in the past, so I don't want to go into it again because it is actually like some of the things that came out of this is actually disgusting. Like some of the things that happened at that company are like not even low key disgusting, like high key disgusting, like
Mm-hmm.
actually disgusting. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I don't want to go into it again because you did it before, but like I don't want to say the words, but there's some horrible things that have
Mm-hmm.
happened. Um, I hope that this does. Here's the thing. This will obviously affect the company because it's not like they can just hire a bunch of people tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like to cover their asses. Like the hiring process is long and difficult. Getting people to come in and work on games that are already under development, like Overwatch 2, it's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? Um, it's one of those things where I really hope that every employee does do the walkout because if it only half the staff walk
Yeah.
out, it doesn't work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Doesn't work if half the staff. You got to have everybody's got to be like, yo, we're walking out. We can't do this.
Yeah.
If like a couple people stay behind, you got to name and shame them. Well, then again, it's a difficult situation. Some people like
Yeah.
they
They
gotta
gotta pay
put
the
food on the
bills.
table for their
Yeah.
kids. You know, you got kids, you got a family, so it's a difficult situation. But I do hope things change. This has been an ongoing situation for a couple of months. We're going to be covering this into 2022. We're still going to be covering this news. This Activision Blizzard news is not going to end. A lot of other gaming companies have been called out for their toxic workplaces as well recently because, you know, once something like this gets brought to light, other people start looking at other companies,
Mm-hmm.
and other companies have like apologized, have made some apologize, and they said they're going to make differences moving forward. Um, but I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal because other companies, as far as I know, haven't had people, you know, like raped and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible, you know. Like there's no like easy way to say that, but it's just horrible, man. They need to change. They really need to change, and then they need to get California needs to sue the crap out of them. I just yeah, I don't know. I hate the company, man. They left such a bad taste in my mouth after me like basically worshiping them as a child, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right. That was the last thing on my list. Do you have anything before we go?
Yeah, about Crossfire X. It's not the kind of game I would want to play, but I think it's worth mentioning that there is going to be a single player campaign which is developed by Alan Wake and Control developer Remedy. So Remedy's working on the campaign for Crossfire
Yeah.
X.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
I'm just gonna literally mention the other things we didn't mention and then we can end it. There was a DLC for Monster Hunter Rise, and like I said earlier, I think a lot of things I'm about to mention now I think they could have like not had in the Game Awards and spent more time on the actual awards. But yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, the Sunbreak expansion, which does look good, and there's an NPC got revealed as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, we've got. Oh yes, this actually, I think this did catch my eye. Warhammer Space Marine 2 got announced. Like almost, it's
Oh
been
yeah.
exactly 10 years since the previous one, and it wasn't like the previous one did bad as far as I can tell. Like everyone who played it loved it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It ended on like a bit of a cliffhanger, so we were like, what the hell's gonna be happening moving forward? Everyone I know played the game and they enjoyed it. It kind of had like a Gears of War feeling to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
it had a very like Gears of War vibe in terms of like combat and the way you get cover and shoot and stuff. But yeah, 10 years later, out of nowhere, we get a sequel announced, you know? Um, I'm actually looking forward to that. That's pretty cool. Destiny 2, the Witch King trailer, which is
Mm-hmm.
another expansion. Once again, like I said, they probably could have held off on the expansions. There's a game that they announced called, sorry, there's a game getting a release date, Tunic, which looks like old school Legend of Zelda, like the top-down view Legend of Zelda games. You know what I mean? Uh, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax announced for PS4 and Switch and PC. I don't. This is weird, right? Like, because Persona 5, in my opinion, Persona 5 is a lot more popular than Persona 4. But for them to come out with an arena game based off of the previous game is a bit odd.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess people like the characters more. I'm not too sure. We got another trailer for Doke V or Doke 5. I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess it's just Doke V. I just want to play that game when it comes out, even though I still don't know what the hell the game's really about. It just looks fun. The Lord of the Rings, the Gollum. We got Gollum, the
Yeah,
Untold
the Gollum
Story.
show.
Um,
I'll be honest with you. You know what?
yeah,
Like, because
I don't know how I
also
feel about it.
DLC. You talked about like cutting DLC from the Game Awards. Also, what about cutting games that like we've already seen
Yeah, like
before?
the Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, glad I saw more gameplay, but at the same time, it's not like I needed to see it. I know the game's coming out 17th of February.
I feel like
You
it
know, I
should
know the
be
game's coming
only
out
like
soon.
reveals, you know? That would limit things. Like, hey, if you want to reveal something that's brand new that we haven't
Exactly,
seen
yeah.
anything before, okay, do it, you know? So,
Yeah, also, I'm really not looking forward to this Gollum game. I mean, the last time I saw any footage on this game, everything looked really good except for Gollum himself.
hmm.
And I was like, if we're playing as Gollum throughout the whole freaking game, his animations have got to look good. The way he moves has got to look like natural. And it just
Hmm.
seems very animatronic actually. But everything else looks great. You know what I mean in the game, like the people you're going to talk to, the realms you're going to go through, that looks good.
Hmm.
Babylon's Fall got a release date. I actually don't know much about this. Requires constant internet connection to play, so I'm guessing it's online only. Um, a warrior who is bonded with special equipment known as the Gideon Coffins. Yeah, I don't know much about this game itself. Then there's Tchia. I think it's Tchia, if I'm
Yeah, yeah,
pronouncing it
I saw
correctly.
that.
It's a game inspired by New Caledonia, and yeah, your soul jumps into animals. It seems quite interesting. And then I'm sure you saw this. I don't know if we spoke about this, but this is the one thing I don't know. It's a bit weird. It's called Thirsty Suitors. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's
It's
called
an
what?
action art. Thirsty Suitors. Suitors. Thirsty Suitors. I think.
Hmm.
It's an action RPG about skating and dating. It was out of all the announcements and trailers I saw, this one looks weird to the point where I'll try it, but it also looks like it might not be that good.
Hmm.
Like I feel like the dialogue will be good and the story will be good, and it tackles things like modern day dating and family life and how do you manage that, like dealing with a messy past and stuff like which is cool. And then they say, and then just being awesome skateboarding around town. The skateboarding doesn't look that good to me. The actual skateboarding mechanics, it looks pretty clunky. The game looks kind of clunky, but I feel like the story might be good. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it too much. Have a Nice Death. That's something I'm excited for because I love roguelike games.
Hmm.
But yeah, Have a Nice Death is it's a roguelike game that's like got a bit of action, got a bit of workplace comedy in it. Um, Planet of Lana, an off-world Odyssey trailer. This looked quite interesting too. It's a sci-fi adventure game from Wishfully. And the music came from The Last Guardian, the guy who did The Last Guardian, the music there. King of Fighters 15, nothing to say there, just King of Fighters 15. You know, there was 14 other ones, and now there's a 15th one. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one, there's a little bit of hype for this. It's just gonna be Friday the 13th, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre version. You know, it's
Hmm.
one of those multiplayer games. Someone's gonna be the killer. There's gonna be a bunch of other people who aren't the killer working together trying to escape. You know.
Hmm.
Um, this one caught my surprise, got a lot of people's surprise. I think we knew it was going to happen, but Homeworld 3 got announced, and it's been yeah, it's been almost 20 years since Homeworld 2. So very odd. Homeworld is the game that actually inspired. What was that game that did so well a couple years ago? Undertale. Undertale. Homeworld was the game that inspired Undertale. It's a very
Hmm.
similar type of game as well. But yeah, Homeworld. I've only ever played Homeworld 1. It's like a postmodern RPG. That's what I would kind of list it as, a postmodern RPG. That's
Hmm.
because it's yeah, that's how I would list it. But yeah, Homeworld 3 got announced after like almost 20 years. That's crazy. Let's see. The alternate history game, Steel Rising. Yeah, Metal Hellsinger. This looked interesting as well. They announced that, and then Evil West as well. I just wanted to mention those last couple ones, but that's it.
Cool. All right. It's been a pretty long episode, almost 2 hours. But we had a lot of stuff to cover.
There's a lot to cover.
Played a
Yeah.
lot of games. I've been playing, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite after the fall. Yeah, it's funny because I was before Halo Infinite came out. Or the multiplayer when they released it early. I was playing. I was all up on Forza Horizon 5, and I haven't touched it since. Not because it isn't an awesome game. It's just you know there's just too much good stuff to play right now. I'll probably eventually go back to it, but right now I want to finish out the Halo Infinite campaign, play some more multiplayer, finish off after the fall. So yeah. What about you?
Well, I just got the Oculus Quest 2 on Saturday.
Yeah.
I set it up for my dad. My dad loves it because it's mainly going to be for him to use for like traveling purposes because he just turned 70. Um, so I've been loving that. I've actually been playing a lot of Super Hot, a lot of Beat Saber, just because those were like those are two of the essentials I knew I wanted to have on the Quest before I started buying everything else. Just got the full Vader, the
Immortal.
full Vader series, the
Yeah.
full Vader Immortal. I got all of them because I only ever played episode one. I haven't played episode 2, 3, or 4. I've only ever played episode 1. Um, and then I've been playing a lot of Halo. Uh, actually, I'm definitely going to be recording my gameplay for Halo. I'm going to be playing from the scratch because I wanted to do a bit of catching up on lore. I never played Halo 5, but I feel like there's a bit of lore that I'm missing. When I even I think with my initial reaction, I was like, "What's this? What's that?" And I feel like I can have those explained. So I need to watch like a lore video to catch me up, and then I'm going to be recording my gameplay for that, and hopefully I'll be putting that onto the channel. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Halo. I've been playing a lot of Valorant. I just dropped $30 on a gun skin. That's because I'm a bad person. Oh my gosh. I don't even feel guilty. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy with my purchase. Um, but I'm mostly going to be playing, like for the rest of the day, I'm going to be playing Halo and I'm going to be looking at some VR games. I'm actually trying to see it right now. I want to get the virtual reality, the Rick and Morty game.
I
They
don't
announced
think it's on the Quest yet, if I'm not mistaken.
it's not yet. Yeah, but
but they do have whatchamacallit, his other game that he made.
Trover. I
yes.
played Trover. Trover was fun. Um, oh man. Oh, here we go. Okay, no. Okay, so that's weird. I just found a clip of someone playing it on Oculus Quest 2, but he must have like jailbroken it or something. But yeah, I'm
Or
looking forward to getting that.
you can airlink it. I mean, if you buy it on PC, like on Steam or whatever, you can
True.
just airlink it to
That makes
your
sense. Yeah.
Quest and play it.
I need to get myself. I don't think my Wi-Fi might be good enough for AirLink. Does AirLink use 5G?
Yeah.
Okay, because yeah, I got 5G. I'm gonna try out the AirLink, but if not, I'm just gonna get myself a longer link cable and do that. I mean, realistically, I just needed about camera's too wide, but I needed about like half my body size because I'm sitting down right here. My PC's literally next to me. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
sitting
I
down
would try
playing
out
a lot of those
Airlink.
games.
I would try out
Yeah,
Airlink first to
and
see.
then I'm gonna be buying after the fall. I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna buy that
Tell
later
me
today.
when you hop on, because me and Mark have been playing, and I've
Oh,
been
for sure.
playing with
We'll see what the
random people
latency is
too.
like as well. I hope it won't be too bad.
I don't
It
think
depends on the
so.
servers. Yeah,
I don't
we'll
think
see
so.
how the server issue works out. And then yeah, I also want to try out that pickup basketball game when I get the chance, man.
Yes. Give me your username, and then I can get you on
Oh,
there.
can we just link through Facebook technically?
I just need your.
Oh, I gotta add you as a friend, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll let you know right now. My username is the same as what I'm gonna say right now. You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, and that is also my Oculus username. That should be in the description below.
All right, cool. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram Dennis.tzng. As you can see, it's late here. I gotta wake up early tomorrow too. You can follow. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. Also subscribe to our podcast feed, which is every week on Spotify or Anchor.fm. And so until next time, we'll see you guys later. Oh, what's up?
Sorry. Be sure to favorite us on Spotify.
Yeah.
If you do listen to us on Spotify, be sure to favorite us. It helps us significantly.
Yes. All right. Until next time. See you guys later.
Later.